Welcome to Axis Pakistan. I'm Omer Farooq Khan. Today, we are diving deep into a story that has stirred up Pakistan. Prime Minister Sharif's trip to Sharm el-Sheikh, where he joined world leaders at a summit co-hosted by the US President Donald Trump and Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, the Egypt's president. It was meant to be a peace conference, part of what Trump calls a 21-point uh, partnership plan between the West and the Muslim world, the Muslim countries. But in Pakistan, that has caused a political and moral uproar. So, in this episode of Axis Pakistan, we'll unpack what happened, how Turkey, the US, and others fit into this diplomatic jab, and what it might mean for Pakistan's foreign policy, politics, and its identity. What happened at Sharm el-Sheikh? All right, let's start with the basics. The Sharm el-Sheikh summit brought together leaders from across the Muslim world: Egypt, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Turkey, Morocco, Indonesia, and yes, Pakistan. Trump presented his 21 point peace plan as a new roadmap for security, counterterrorism, prosperity, and understanding. It focused on regional trade, counterterrorism, and the most controversial part, gradual normalization with Israel. Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif spoke in broad terms about dialogue, coexistence, and shared progress. He didn't mention directly Israel, but his tone, cooperative and conciliatory, was enough to send shockwaves back home. Turkey's role is very important at the summit, at Sharm el-Sheikh, in the summit. Now, because Turkey's presence at the summit changed the whole dynamic, President Erdogan has spent years balancing his image as a Muslim leader who stands up to the West with his country's deep economic and military ties with it. And after years of tension, Turkey restored diplomatic relations with Israel quietly but decisively. At Sharm el-Sheikh, he presented Turkey as a bridge, a country that can talk to Washington, Tel Aviv, and the wider Muslim world without losing credibility. For many observers, his attendance gave the summit legitimacy. For Pakistan, though that comparison is uncomfortable, Turkey can afford to play pragmatic diplomacy. It has economic strength and regional influence. Pakistan doesn't have the same margin for maneuver. So while Turkey's engagement shows one possible path, it also highlights Pakistan's limits and how carefully it has to tread. An important thing that differentiates Pakistan and Turkey's position is that a backlash was not witnessed in Turkey. But back in Pakistan, things heated up fast. The reason was immediate and emotional. Social media lit up with hashtags like no to recognition and stand with Palestine. Protests erupted in Karachi, Lahore, and Peshawar. People waving Palestinian flags, chanting against the government's alleged betrayal. Opposition parties seized the moment. PTI called it a surrender to US pressure. Uh, the JUIF, Jamiatul Ulma Islam Fazlur Rahman group, and Jamaat Islami accused Sharif of selling out Pakistan's Islamic identity. The Foreign Office tried to contain the fire later that night, but saying Pakistan's stance on uh, Palestine and Israel was unchanged. But by then, the headlines and the anger had already spread. And that, of course, brings us to the deeper issue: Pakistan's long standing refusal to recognize Israel. Since independence, every Pakistani government, from Liaquat Ali Khan to Imran Khan, has linked recognition of Israel to a just solution of Palestine. There has been quite context in the past. The 2005 meeting between Pakistan and Israel's foreign ministers in Turkey was one example, but each time the political backlash was swift. So when Shahbaz Sharif appeared at a summit connected to Trump's peace framework, which implicitly calls for normalization, people read it as a shift. Maybe not official recognition yet, but a soft opening, a signal that Pakistan's position might be evolving, even if it's not being said out loud. To really understand this, we need to zoom out. For the US, this peace plan is part of a broader strategy to rebuild influence in the Muslim world and counter both Iran and China. For Pakistan, the decision to attend is partly survival politics. The economy, because Pakistan's economy is in trouble, the government needs global goodwill, and Sharif's administration wants to show it's a reliable partner to Washington, the Gulf, and maybe even the IMF. But then there's also China. Beijing has poured billions into China-Pakistan economic corridor projects and won't like the idea of Pakistan drifting toward a US-backed framework. And to that, the Saudi and Turkish dimensions, and you see why this single conference put Islamabad in a geopolitical crossfire. So, in this episode of Axis Pakistan, the word Axis isn't just branding. It's literally what Pakistan is caught between: Washington, Beijing, Riyadh, and Ankara. Now, inside the country, the gap between state policy and public sentiment has never felt wider. For Pakistan, foreign policy isn't abstract. It's moral, emotional, tied to identity, especially when it comes to Palestine. The government might argue it's being pragmatic, that diplomacy is changing, that engagement doesn't mean endorsement. But for many on the street, even a handshake or a photo session at the wrong summit feels like betrayal. This isn't just about Shahbaz Sharif, it's about what Pakistan stands for and gets who gets to decide its moral boundaries, the elected government, the establishment, or the people themselves. So, where does this all leave us? Pakistan hasn't recognized Israel, not yet. But by attending Sharm el-Sheikh and signaling openness to dialogue, it has entered a new sensitive space, one uh, where old principles collide with new realities. Maybe this is a cautious step toward modernization in foreign policy, or maybe it's a misstep that could trigger another wave of domestic unrest. Either way, the debate it has sparked about faith, diplomacy, and identity is far from over. And in many ways, this moment captures exactly what Axis Pakistan is about. A country, a country trying to find its balance between ideology and geopolitics, between its past and uncertain future. Thanks for listening to Axis Pakistan. If you found this episode useful, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And join me next time as we explore the shifting alignments shaping Pakistan's place in the world. Until then, stay informed and stay curious.